The Minnesota Timberwolves handed the Warriors their second loss in the last 3 games last night, 124 to 117. The young duo of Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns really put up a tough physical battle throughout all 4 quarters, including overtime. It needed overtime. This really puts the Warriors' hunt for 73 wins in jeopardy. They need to win out their season. They need to beat the Spurs twice and the Grizzlies twice. That's what's remaining on their schedule. First one we got for you is a comparison between the Warriors and the Bulls, the 95-96 Bulls. Through 78 games, the Bulls and the Warriors have identical records. You're looking at the 95-96 Bulls against the 2015-2016 Warriors. They handled Milwaukee, Detroit before dropping one to Indiana, and then finishing up the 72nd win at the Washington Bullets. They were the Bullets.
Look at the difference in momentum at this point.
Yeah,
that's where
absolutely. You look at it too. The Bulls finished really strong. I mean, the game against Boston. Boston's a good team, and they had their number. They had the Warriors' number way earlier in the season when they almost ended the win streak. So that to me wasn't that much of a surprising or shock that they were competitive. The Timberwolves to me was a shock. The Warriors are a better team than the Timberwolves, but all credit due to how much better Karl-Anthony Towns has gotten. His basketball IQ is through the frickin' roof, and he's making professional big man moves as a rookie. I think he's the runaway rookie of the year. They both eclipsed 40 minutes in this game.
Yeah.
And the question now, I think, becomes, besides, do you hunt for the record? Because we know Draymond Green's been vocal about it. We know Draymond Green wants that record, and it seems like a lot of the Warriors do. But it puts a big burden on the Warriors because, one, they haven't even clinched the 1 seed technically. If they were to drop 4 of these games and the Spurs win out, and don't forget, 2 of those games are against the Spurs, they don't get the 1 seed.
And the one thing that, I mean, I'm going to be kind of the almost the prophet of doom on not on Minnesota, because I think Minnesota played well last night. I've watched the Golden State more than any team this season in the NBA. I actually think I've watched the Golden State Warriors more than any sports team this year.
We have brought him to the bright side.
But last night, you can talk about how good Minnesota played. You can talk about how good Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns were, which I thought they were at closing space as well.
And Shabazz Mohammed, he had a career night.
But the Warriors were tired, like really tired. Fatigue is something that was evident, specifically in the last quarter, whereas I know we're going to go into, they could have sacrificed some of their starters. And they could have, but again, they want to prove that they are the best, and they want to showcase that this record is firmly within their grasp. And they have the squad depth to do it. Like, I don't imagine that in the next 4 games they would have to play their starters consistently to win. But I think that they have the depth to go on and utilize those players more so than what Steve Kerr has been doing in the last quarter. I thought that it was, for me, not reckless, because he wants to. His team has proven time and time again that even when tired, they're really still one of the best teams. That outside shoot game is something that I think when you're tired is something that's harder to master, especially when you have a young team like the Timberwolves constantly in your face. So I think that tiredness was the overwhelming factor, and it is something, we were just talking there, is of course they care about the record, but what good is a record if you're going into the playoffs with low momentum and on the back of several losses potentially? Like, I'm not saying they're going to lose out, but as you showcased there, the Bulls, they're a minor blip, but of course, got back on track and were able to go and set that record. Golden State at the moment, they're losing to teams that are outworking them, in my point of view.
Yeah, that's a really good observation. Here's where I found so interesting. A couple points from the game. In the first half, Curry couldn't hit a shot to save his life, and we've seen that happen few times. And no, please, do not try to hand me the Steph Curry isn't the MVP argument, because I've already seen some of the Twitter, a couple people were tweeting at me yesterday, with the Steph Curry shouldn't be MVP. This is why Russell Westbrook. It's ridiculous. Steph Curry is the runaway MVP for this season, but he couldn't hit a shot to save his life. And in the Warriors' losses this season, some of it has come on the back of Steph Curry not being able to finish his shots. One of the things I thought he did actually very well, though, in the first half is when he couldn't hit his shots, dished out 10-plus assists in the first half. Harrison Barnes, I'd say the one bright spot from this game. Harrison Barnes looks like he took all his anger out on the rim. He's a UNC alumni, so obviously he looked a little hurt after the UNC loss to Villanova, but he looks like he's back, and here's a football term for you, on form for the Warriors. Iguodala's returned to the starting lineup, and he got a couple, he got more than a couple. He played close to 20 minutes last night. But overall, if I'm Steve Kerr, and what the hell do I know, but if the fourth quarter comes along, you don't want to play that overtime. You really don't. You don't need the extra 5 minutes. Throw in your reserve guys, rest Steph Curry for the rest of that game, rest Klay Thompson, maybe get Iguodala a couple more minutes so he can get stronger, maybe get Barnes a couple more minutes so he can get stronger. But at this point, 73 wins, 70 wins, 72 wins, the record or not means absolutely nothing if you don't win the championship. You could go 82-0 in the regular season. You could sweep every team up into the NBA Finals, and you could lose Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And guess what? Nobody gives a flying fuck because you couldn't finish the job. Sometimes the ends justify the means. And right now, if I was Steve Kerr, I would get to 70, be the second team in NBA history to ever get to 70 wins. It's a remarkable achievement. It also proves how ridiculous an achievement the Bulls to get to 72 wins was, and start planning for the playoffs. Because to get to the NBA Finals this year, while people said last year they lucked out, yada, yada, yeah, they played who was in front of them. This year, what's in front of them is the Clippers, the Spurs, and the Thunder. And that is a rough slate to get back to the finals. Therefore, you got to start planning for the playoffs.
If you're Greg Popovich, how do you want Golden State to come at you on those games? At least they'll have to play at the end. Because this is an interesting point, is do you want Golden State to come at you with the full intensity of trying to set that record, which I'm sure no matter what, it's going to be a competitive game, but is Greg Popovich kind of hoping in the back of his mind that this Golden State team comes out still antsy to get that record, so they potentially give everything that they have to setting it and leave themselves maybe more fatigued heading into the playoffs?
Actually, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows what's in Pop's head because he's so unpredictable with how sometimes he'll. I mean, this is a guy, like I always said, who once rested Tim Duncan and put on the report for the game as old. Usually there's like an injury. It's like ankle or back, or usually they'll make something up just so it doesn't say old. Yeah. That's what Tim Duncan is. He's just old. But look, I don't think the Spurs are going to get the 1 seed. Technically, I think the Warriors are one win away from clinching that.
No,
but I look at this, and I don't think Popovich wants to lose on his home court. That, I think, is pretty evident because they're also undefeated this year. I think completing an undefeated season at home is great for your fans. So the one at home, the home game, which, by the way, I think we have the rest of the schedule according to 538 by their chances for the Warriors. The Warriors play at home against San Antonio April 7th. They actually have a 60% win probability according to 538. I think that game, Pop, in very Pop fashion, isn't going to gun for that win. I think at San Antonio for the Warriors, 27.3%, it drops off exponentially, is a game that Popovich is going to want to win and to win out at home. And by the way, the Grizzlies aren't just a throwaway game.
They're a physical team as well.
Absolutely a physical team, and they're battered. But when I look at the NBA season, right, nobody wants to lose on their home court. So when this year was happening, the whole season went down, and the Warriors would come to town, every single team wanted to win against the Warriors, especially on their home court. I don't want these guys streaking and going and getting the 33-game win streak. I don't want to see Steph Curry ignite my team in my building. So I'm not going to throw away the Grizzlies as, there's 2 guaranteed wins. And that's not just because of teams like the Timberwolves and the Bucks and the Celtics beating them. It's just because the Grizzlies are also fighting for playoff positioning. Right now, the 4 and the 5 is going back and forth and is going to go down the stretch with the Clippers. And the West is a tighter race than people think, especially when you drop from 5 through 8. Yeah. So the Grizzlies have always been a staple to the Western Conference playoffs. I shouldn't say always, but at least over the last 5-6 years. And that physical battle that they're going to play with the Warriors should be entertaining also. In terms of the chances, by the way. So the most likely outcome, according to 538, is that they'll finish with 72 wins and tie the Bulls at 42.4%. But again, referring back to what I was saying before, get 70. You're still going to be, and so will the Spurs. You're both 2 of the greatest regular season NBA teams of all time. You could have said that when they were at 65 wins. So overall, rest. Prepare for the playoffs because you have a ridiculous slate of games coming ahead of you. Before we go, 2 quick things. There's a What If series with Andre and myself. We did What If the T-Wolves, if their roster intact stays together, their young talent of Wiggins and Towns, What does it look like for them in the future? It'll be fun. That will be going up over the weekend. So, Francis, in the bracket challenge, we had 2 winners remarkable brackets, who spanked the competition. They even beat out our editor, Bert, who was the first in the TYT bracket challenge. Topolozer and 33 Grayson 33, I guess a Duke fan, Grayson Allen. Both you guys, because you got in the 99.8th percentile. But of course, Topolozer here at TYT Sports. I don't know what a Villanova is, but that's my pick.
Winning tweet.
That's the winning tweet. Thank you, Thomas Opolozer. Can't really pronounce it, but thank you for tweeting it all the time. Guys, make sure the 2 winners, if you're watching this, make sure to either Facebook message us on TYT Sports or, slip into our DMs on Twitter or comment on the Facebook post, regardless, with the size shirt you would like, and you're going to get some fun stickers and a signed Francis Maxwell picture, too.
What size of shirt should they get?
Extra small or tiny.